It all started on a Tuesday, which is statistically the most pointless day of the week, so it felt appropriate. I was performing the sacred morning ritual of staring into the abyss of my coffee cup, contemplating the vast emptiness of my existence before another day of spreadsheets. Primera blinked. It was a perfectly normal blink, not one of those long, dramatic blinks you see in movies right before a shocking reveal. Just a standard, biological, eyelid lubricating blink. When I opened my eyes, my favorite ceramic mug, the one that said "World's Okayest Employee," was gone. In its place, flapping its gills with a look of profound disappointment, was a goldfish. It was not in a bowl. It was just there, on my kitchen counter, breathing air and judging me. I did not scream. You just stared at the goldfish. I swear, sighed. It was a wet, bubbly sound, full of existential angst. I decided, with the kind of logic that only comes from severe sleep deprivation, to ignore it and proceed with my day. This was a mistake. My car, a reliable, if unexciting sedan, had been replaced by a giant, unsliced loaf of sourdough bread. It still had the license plate, which was now slightly yeasty. I got in. It smelled amazing. I will give it that. Turning the ignition, which was a crusty end piece, produced a sound like 1,000 ducks, all quacking in unison. The love car moved. It was spongy, and cornering was a nightmare, but it got me onto the highway. Nobody else seemed to notice. A man in a convertible made of Swiss cheese gave me a friendly wave. I was beginning to suspect that my coffee had been more than just coffee. At the office, my boss, Mr. Henderson, was now a large, brightly colored parrot. He was perched on his desk, repeatedly squawking, synergized deliverables, and occasionally trying to eat his steak. My co-workers, a diligent group of what used to be humans, were now communicating exclusively through interpretive dance. Susan from accounting did a very moving piece about quarterly earnings that involved a lot of dramatic lunging. I sat at my desk, which was now a block of ice that was slowly melting, and pretended to work. The goldfish was in my briefcase. It had apparently packed itself a tiny suitcase. I went to buy lunch. The currency was no longer money. It was apologies. A sandwich cost 3 sincere apologies and 1 self-deprecating remark. I told the cashier I was sorry for that thing I said in 7th grade. Sorry for not flossing as much as I should, and sorry for my very existence. He gave me a tuna melt and a look of pity. The news on the television was reporting on the rising political tensions between garden gnomes and flamingo lawn ornaments. It was a complex issue. I ate my sandwich, which tasted faintly of regret. I decided to see a therapist. Dr. Albright's office was the same, but Dr. Albright was now a large, comfortable armchair. He was a very good listener. I poured out my story, the blink, the goldfish, the bread car, the parrot boss. The armchair just sat there, absorbing my words into its plush cushions. When I was done, it creaked softly and a small card printed out from a slot in the armrest. It read, "Have you tried just being one with the furniture?" It was the best advice I'd received all day. I walked out of the armchair's office, a new man. A man who understood the world had not gone wrong. It had just updated its operating system, and I had skipped the tutorial. The problem was not the world. It was me. I was still trying to use the old software. So I adapted. I learned to communicate and dance, my signature move being the confused shrug. I paid for my apartment with a heartfelt apology to the landlord for my loud music. I traded the judgmental goldfish for a slightly more optimistic hamster. My new job is as a professional cloud critic. I get paid in compliments, which have a surprisingly good exchange rate. Life is absurd and chaotic. It makes absolutely no sense. It is wonderful. I am happier than I have ever been. So if you ever find yourself in a world where everything is suddenly, inexplicably wrong, maybe it is not wrong. Maybe it is just different. Or maybe you are just insane. The jury is still out on that one for me. If you enjoyed this descent into madness, or if you too have a judgmental goldfish in your life, do me a favor. Share this video with someone who needs a dose of absurdity. Hit that like button as if it owes you an apology, and subscribe to the channel, because you never know what will happen the next time I blink.